Hey guys, so today I want to show you something that's very special and dear to my heart. So I actually accomplished the impossible and I've totally redesigned this wing and the way it's like laid out my rig for the character. I've made the topology very simple and light and easy to work with for many reasons that you'll see now. So you'll see got the first early test. My characters. This isn't even an early test. I'm calling this the final of how the wing looks while it's actually closing the character. And you'll see that it goes back to its base pose and actually stays symmetrical. And that means we'll be able to transfer this pose onto the other side of the character. I'm doing this using set-driven keys and a very fancy rig that I made for especially for this character. That basically has a number of manipulator points. Well, I'm actually driving those over a frame sequence on an integer, and this integer, based on certain values, puts those in actually different poses. You can see that it's at this value at this point in the pose because I've posed out actually each individual control to have this rig work and create these shapes and deal with collision. And just getting it to actually look proper in this like final pose. I am doing a bit of cheating. Basically, like I cheated the fact of how it looks on top. 3/4 back and 3/4 front. It's not actually technically against the bird like you would prefer, but it looks quite good from the top view. That's what really sells it. And when you see it happen, it looks still realistic. You can actually fake most of your angles for the character to have this against the body because it did stay kind of true to like the way this works for the animal. See that I actually put his arm right against the body, basically, so that his wing still actually technically is contacting. It's just contacting in a more complicated way. You'll see that the feathers are all actually grouped in a kind of grip of tail too. Actually, no, it's more easier to show this. So I've essentially gotten this to shape out in this kind of cone almost at the very end pose. And go through a few different shape changes as it's transitioning. Getting that to smoothly transition was really hard. Did not collide really at all, or as little as possible. But I think it's pretty cool to see this actually working and know that this is going to be a working part of the character's design. And a few very cool things I've kind of set up so that you can do some different things with this wing as well, or you can just fold it. So you have this kind of like these three controls that essentially pose out the wing, a gradient almost. Still gotta fix one of these that have too much weight on them. It's essentially just blend You can see I can kind of pose out the entire mass of the wing very quickly, like a fall off kind of gradient, and these all kind of just naturally spread out. And it really works for fanning out the wing dynamically. And you can kind of engage the shoulder too. It's also one here that kind of just breaks up this area. And there's one right here that breaks up this whole group right here. And that's just for different purposes of posing out the character's wing. And the way I actually did that is through a bunch of utility nodes, which I'll show now. Now I'll try and keep this explanation as basic as possible. Just grab my Windows node editor. I'm just gonna, there we go. So basically I have actually some rendering nodes that are called blend color nodes that are driving values carefully moving stuff around here into all these individual nodes that create basically, it's almost like a gradient, and it's being based on basically like your two controls. Like, let's say for example this is our one force, and this is like our second force, this guy. They act as like kind of like a guiding point for each one of these. And I have another kind of null object, this group, that's still driving that motion. If you want to go on this control, you can still kind of do whatever you want with it. But for me, that's like too rigid, and it's really good for just like posing at the wing like this. And then if you want to offset by those controls ever so slightly, you can do it yourself. You just at least get most of the work done by doing it this way. And what these controls are actually very interesting for is like when the bird is at this resting position, you can kind of like spread out the wings, almost like how an ostrich would like kind of like spread out its wings while it's like running around. And you can like totally cheat a lot of animation that would be like very hard to get the wing in this sort of pose where he's like angry or like kind of like flustering his wings around while he's running. And this works, and it doesn't break up here. It kind of, you can see that it's colliding like a mess, kind of almost, but it works in kind of an interesting way. So you can definitely achieve some interesting results by playing around with how you use these controls in different poses. So that's just kind of like a little breakdown about how this wing works and the way I set it up. If you guys have any questions, just feel free to shoot me in the comments on how I actually made this rig. Hope you enjoyed.